We are watching Akris battle Mertcan. Now, Akris is on a kind of Witherbloom Golgari list, and I believe Mertcan is on a Boros aggro list. And we're, of course, working through technical difficulties here. We'd love to get kind of a dual stream going, but wasn't able to get that working in the short time frame here. But it does look like Akris is taking a mulligan, deciding what to send back. They have Dina, Witherbloom Command, and they Bellatrix Witherbloom down the road. But it looks like they're going to start out with a... okay, so Mertcan's going first, but then we see Akris throw down a Snarl of their own. They're going to reveal a Forest, it looks like, to keep that Snarl from entering tapped, so it's untapped. Now let's see what Mertcan does with their 2 mana. They do have that Mountain Island, Mountain Plains card. That's a Snowland, but they throw down Plarg. Alright, Akris is going to throw down Dina as a counterplay, can block Plarg for now, and they are going to try to get their creatures rocking and rolling, hold up their defense, try to gain some life, and take down their opponent. Now, Plarg is attacking here. Akris opts not to block, fearing a combat trick perhaps, but it does appear that Mertcan is going to play Spellbinder, and they're going to get to look into Akris's hand and tax something, make something go into exile and have to pay 2 more to actually cast that card. So this is going to be interesting what they choose. Blood Researcher, maybe. Witherbloom Command right now doesn't really have a great target, although I guess the Spellbinder is now a good target, because you can +3 minus, or I guess -3 -1 it, right? Okay, that's what looks like Akris is going to do. They're going to use the Witherbloom Command to take down the Elite Spellbinder, and okay, they're going to gain some life as well with the alternate trigger. And that effect is also going to trigger Dina, so it's going to be +3 -3 in terms of life gain, life loss there. So Mertcan, though, I know they're running, I think, some Showdown of the Scalds, so that could be a nice turn 4 play for them. Though, okay, they're going to run out Venerable War Singer. So it's Vigilance, Trample, and if you hit someone, I believe you get to bring back something from your graveyard, a creature with CMC equal to or less than the number of damage you just dealt. Okay, so both players stuck on 3 lands, though. Kind of awkward for both players. Akris is going to throw down a Witherbloom Apprentice, though. So they are going to have additional taxes and additional drain going on whenever they play instants or sorceries here. And that's going to be amplified as well by Dina. And it looks like, okay, there's some stream lag. We're working through some difficulties, right? It's the first time. Okay, Mertcan, though, thinking about attacking with the Warsinger. He does attack. Okay, let's see if Akris blocks. And if they don't block, then they're going to be able to get back this Spellbinder right from the graveyard. And that's going to be annoying, no doubt, for Akris here. Okay, looks like that's quickly going to target. And I have to imagine it's going to happen. So, yeah, we do see the Spellbinder recurred from the graveyard and now peeking again into Akris's hand. So we're going to see what they're going to tax this time. They end up taxing the Hunt for Specimens. So now both Hunt and Blood Researcher have been taxed, so they're more expensive. And if Akris doesn't draw another land here, they're going to be in some trouble, because they're not going to cast anything. The board state of Mertcan is growing scarily. But we do see this... the Hunt for Specimens drawn again for Akris. So with that said, we'll see if Akris opts to loot here. Some stream lag. Okay, but they get Pest Summoning. Okay. I mean, I don't know how much life gain this Boros deck has, so just trying to drain out your opponent could be a worthwhile endeavor here. It could be the path to victory. Let's see if we can't switch up the streams here, switch up who we're following. And still trying to configure this stream here. We have switched sides, though. Okay, so we'll switch sides, see if Mertcan's any smoother on this end. Okay, but what have we missed? Well, we see Mertcan is going to attacks here, swinging in for 10 damage already. Or, sorry, 11 damage, excuse me. We see that Akris is now going to jump block the Venerable Warsinger, although unfortunately the Warsinger has Trample, so not going to do too much there, but they do buff Dina by sacrificing the Pest. This is looking tough for Akris. This opposing Boros mid-range beatdown deck is proven to be very powerful here, even on only 3 or now 4 mana, I suppose. We even see a Goldspan Dragon in hand for Mertcan, so things are looking good on their side. We do see the Witherbloom command, though, deployed for Acris, so going to be some life swing there. And okay, we sniped the Spellbinder again with that same card that took it down last time. But now we know that Mertcan has a Frostbite, so he can Frostbite, or they can Frostbite down Dina, and then they can just probably go wide, just swing in. And I think that's got to be lethal. I don't see how I don't see how Acris can recover from this shellacking here. All right, we're back in it. We are back in it. Okay, get back on here. So we're gonna see what Mertcan is working with. They appear to have a mono white hand here against Acris. So does have nice curve though. He can go Usher, and then you can boast with Usher, and then you can play a 3-drop, either Spellbinder or Redain, or you could foretell maybe Glorious Protector on turn 2. It's gonna be interesting to see if Acris can recover here. It's gonna be an uphill battle, it looks like, from this side. Okay, they throw down the Usher. Okay, gets on down there. Okay, they throw down Dina though. That's gonna be a good block. So I imagine they don't want to throw away their Usher into Dina for no value. And that does appear to be the case. So now Acris on 3 mana, presumably. Again, we can't see the hand, but okay, we see a Snarl. They reveal a land, and they play a Blood Researcher. So that is going to be growing quickly, and I don't know that Mertcan is necessarily positioned to deal with it, right? One of the big ways that Mono White or this Boros Agrissa would deal with creatures would be either Bonecrusher Giant or a Skyclave Apparition, but neither of those are legal here. But okay, the Spellbinder is going to reveal Acris's hand for us. And we're going to see another copy of Dina, but then there's also an Eradicator Valkyrie. So that is a nice 4-drop that I'm sure Acris was hoping to deploy next turn. But it looks like it is going to be sniped by the Spellbinder, increasing the cost by 2. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't pick another Dina. Yeah, so that is what Mertcan opts to do. Now, Dina, or the Blood Researcher, does have a good attack here. They can swing in for 2, though it's not the most impactful. They actually opt not to attack, perhaps fearing a removal spell. Unclear the reasoning there, but maybe we'll find out. So Mertcan is kind of getting flooded out here. They've drawn a number of lands. They only have Redain left, but they do have a Faceless Haven in hand. They're probably going to throw down this turn. Yet they can start attacking with that. And they throw down Redain as well, which is going to tax the spells that are 4 CMC or greater for Acris, as long as Redain is on the battlefield. And we'll have to see what Acris has drawn here. Have they found a solution, an answer to any of these cards, any of these flyers that are proving so potent for Mertcan? We do see the Village Rites deployed for Acris, so they're going to sacrifice Dina to draw 2 cards, knowing that they have another Dina in hand, which they are going to quickly redeploy. Now they throw down another land, so now 3 mystery cards in Acris's hand. What could they be? Whatever they are, they don't seem to want to deploy them now, so they just pass the turn. I have a similar board state to last turn. Mertcan looks like they're trying to throw down a Plains, and they do, and then they animate the Faceless Haven. But did Acris draw a removal spell, or are they just waiting to pick off this Faceless Haven as it is on the battlefield? And then it looks like they are. They use Eliminate to snipe the Faceless Haven, destroying it, and reducing the number of attackers by 1 this turn. They do still get 5 in the air at them. And they even have Usher the Fallen, a second one, to follow that up. Now, if Acris does draw land, and they do, they can actually play their Valkyrie. And we know that Mertcan doesn't have a good answer for it right now. This not only has lifelink and flying, it's got hexproof from Planeswalkers, which probably not particularly relevant, but still worth noting. It can also boast, and they can make players sacrifice things. Though I don't know that that's the most impactful or most ideal thing to do in a case like this, where you have fewer creatures than your opponents, and your opponents are probably going to start making creatures off the Ushers of the Fallen sooner or later. So they, oh, we actually see another Eliminate thrown down. Oh, they go all in. Just with the Eradicator Valkyrie. They might have a combat trick. Got a buff and get rid of that Spellbinder. Let's see it. No, okay, they don't. Maybe they have an expensive spell they wanted to play instead. Something that they want to not have to pay the Redain tax on. Because you would think we just let Redain in, then you just keep swinging for 4 in the air and going to town. But we'll see. Opponent, though, Mertcan, gets a Faceless Haven, a replacement for the one that they lost. Now, Akris is just throwing down land after land here. Unfortunate for them. Okay, now they are actually attacking with a Blood Researcher. And Mertcan is opting not to animate it and trade here. Now, both players are at 16 life, so things are kind of neck and neck, but this Faceless Haven is going to be tipping the race in Akris's favor. And what Mertcan could even do is all attack here and then double boast on his Ushers, but he doesn't do that, or they don't do that. And so then they just attack with the Faceless Haven, getting Akris down to 12 life. Now, what is Akris going to do here? They play another Blood Researcher. Okay, this is potentially scary, but last card was a land, so not too scary. We'll see if they keep the Blood Researcher back here, because they could double block the Faceless Haven, kind of get into like a board stall type situation. So, let's see. Okay, now we're going to see Mertcan probably try to tempt them with that trade by going for the Faceless Haven and then having the Blood Researchers double block there. So, without knowing, of course, that there's another Faceless Haven, the third Faceless Haven in this game is going to be coming down on Mertcan's side. And will Akris take the trade? Will they opt for it? To be determined. Okay, another land off the top for Akris. And they did take the trade. Okay, so we see now Mertcan again animating that land. Now, probably getting pretty tempting to just all attack here and then, like I said, double boast with those two Ushers to just overwhelm your opponent. So, I guess that does leave me potentially vulnerable to something like a pest summoning. But again, Mertcan is showing much restraint and not attacking with their Ushers. They are a more patient player than me, I suppose. We are going to see Akris that would look like they're going to double block the Haven. And now Mertcan is opting to kill Dina instead of the Blood Researcher. Oof! Beladros Witherbloom off of the top. You know, that is going to be something. That's some spice. That's what Akris needed to get back in this game to seal the deal here. We do see Mertcan, though, drawing Quakebringer. Now that is going to be making it so Blood Researcher can't get any counters, right? Because your opponents can't gain life, and it's going to be pinging Akris for 2 every turn. I don't know how many giants that Mertcan has in their deck, though, so I don't know how relevant the other part of it being in the graveyard and also, you know, shocking your opponent every turn. But just it turning off life gain is kind of a secret tech against Akris's Witherbloom deck here. Now you're going to still get a horde of chump blockers from Beladros, right? One of those pests every turn, and that will let probably Witherbloom attack. You're going to be getting just tons of blockers. You can just chump your opponent all day. Though, you know, it's only 4 damage in the air, and that opponent, Mertcan, is at 16 life, so it's like a 3-turn clock now. And in response, or in return, you see that Akris is on more of a 6-turn clock because they're getting shocked every turn, and they have, you know, blockers for days. So Mertcan now drawing another Venerable Warsinger. It does have trample, so it is going to be able to get through the horde of 1/1 tokens that Witherbloom is making. But it looks like Akris is finally, they've had enough. They are going all attacks and just trying to get that value, trying to just go wide and try to win this race here. And we'll have to see what Akris decides to block. I have to imagine that they're going to send a pest on each of these creatures, though they might be fearful of their life total. It is important to note here, right, because this is a block constructed event, they don't have to worry about Embercleave, the Reaper of the Ladder, the menacing threat for any deck playing red. They don't have to worry about that, which is beneficial, no doubt. But they still could have combat tricks. You could have other ways that they could be pumping their creatures or giving them trample or something, some sort of nonsense. There's plenty of combat tricks in Boros. But okay, they're going to double block their the Quakebringer, or triple block it actually, to kill it, to turn back on the life gain. And I believe because the dying effects go on the stack afterward, Icarus is going to gain a life from that. So they go back up to 11. And we do see the Venerable Warsinger thrown down from Mertcan. All right, so what is Icarus going to do here? What have they drawn? A land! Nothing impactful, I'm afraid, though they still have jump blockers. A Venerable Warsinger can get back an Usher of the Fallen. I don't know that there's much else it can get back. I don't quite recall. But they are just going all attack. Mertcan is going all attack here. They're looking in their graveyard, seeing what they can grab. So I guess this game, I think, had Redain as well, right? And the Spellbinder, so they might be grabbing one of those two. Okay, Icarus, though, is going to block the Usher and a token with their pests. So the one of the Ushers will die, and they're going to bring back... I think I don't know what to bring back. The Spellbinder, maybe for a flying blocker. So we do know that Mertcan right now, right, they have 5 damage on board. And Icarus is at 7 life. And they're going to make a blocker at their untap step, and I believe on Mertcan's untap step. So they can get 2 more blockers. This race is still neck and neck, and we didn't even, I guess, have counted in the life gain from those dying pest tokens. So Icarus is actually up at 9 life, making it even harder for Mertcan to race. And Mertcan, or rather Icarus, does get another blocker here. They get Witherbloom Apprentice down on the board. And they are going to be attacking here. They attack for 4. Putting Mertcan at 4 with the Redain as a blocker. They find another Usher of the Fallen in their draw step. So let's see what they choose to do here. Redain, of course, is a free attack because it is vigilance, because it is flying. There's no reason you wouldn't here. Now, if they attack with the Warsinger, they can get back, I guess, probably the Spellbinder to get another flying blocker to buy some more time. But they do risk Icarus triple blocking the Warsinger just to take it down. Or I guess double blocking, and then they block over there, block one of the tokens with their pest. Now, blockers have been assigned, damage has been dealt, leaving Icarus going to be up at 8 still versus the Mertcan at 4. Now, that's just Redain, an Usher, and a token versus Beledros, Witherbloom, and a host of lands from Icarus. Okay, so they jump block Witherbloom, Lorehold Command. Now that could buy them back. That could be what they need here. Okay, so can this seal the deal? They can make a token. They can give their creatures +1 hope and indestructible. Unfortunately, they can't kill Witherbloom with the 3 damage. They could also sacrifice a permanent to draw some cards. A lot of decisions here to make for Mertcan, so we're going to have to see what they choose to do. Looks like they're going to go for the damage mode and the drawing card mode. They're going to ping Witherbloom and hope that they draw another damage spell. They're going for it. They are going for it. They're going to sap one of their lands to draw some cards, and they do! They find a Frostbite off the top, allowing them to kill Witherbloom, and a very lucky top deck. And we have to see here what they're going to choose to do with their attacks. They can't still attack with Usher and get it to boast to make another token. And now we're more or less going to be back into top deck mode here for both players as we see what's going on in this round, or this game 2 of round 1 of the Bigmits Open block constructed championship. Trying to get that out of my mouth here. Binding of the Old Gods. on the token. So both players, top deck mode. Binding is going to get Acris another forest, so thinning their deck a little bit, if they have any forests left. I mean, they've got to be, well, I guess they probably have 22 lands, so they're not close to that yet. Mertcan does find another Frostbite. Okay, so Binding the Old Gods resolves, or rather takes up to its final saga chapter and goes away. Acris throws down a Witherbloom Apprentice. Okay, but Mertcan drawing a Showdown of the Scalds. That's like top decking 4 cards, more or less. I can't imagine that Acris has any counter magic, and we don't see any, as we do see the Showdown resolve. And now Mertcan is getting a whole host of great cards. They get Halvar and Lorehold Command and a Frostbite. They can just like throw down Halvar and then play Frostbite or something, or they could even just like Lorehold Command. But it looks like they're just going to go for Halvar. Now, we can't see what Acris has, but it does seem like they have a stop, so they might have a removal spell. Them not doing anything with it yet, or not responding yet. Okay, they don't cast anything. And what a turnaround. Looked like Acris had it in the bag, but then one Lorehold Command to turn things around. Okay, Acris is casting Crippling Fear. Interesting, because Halvar is in fact a 4/4 and not a 3/3. They choose God. That was not the way. That's okay. We all we all make mistakes sometimes. Happens to the best of us. I think I've messed up on Crippling Fear and on the Nexus of Fate out of Strixhaven. I've chose the wrong mode multiple times. So Mertcan, though, they are going to cast their Lorehold Command that was exiled in the Showdown of the Scalds, making a token, sacrificing a permanent, drawing some cards. They have now 3 Frostbites in their hand, and they have 2 Dragonkin Berserkers to follow them up with. And this is looking grim for Acris. Now, what Mertcan could get spicy. It looks like they're going to Frostbite, Halvar here to put a token on him, or put a counter on him. They could even do it again if they wanted, right? But they opt not to. I guess there's no reason not to, because you're going to lose the card from you're going to lose the card from the Showdown next turn, so you wouldn't have a chance to cast the Frostbite if Acris were to play anything. Now, this is interesting. Mertcan is really committing to this board, and I don't know what Acris has in their deck. They have Binding. Okay, I was going to say if they have like a board wipe, they could have done it, but it does look like Mertcan is going to take it. So that is round 1, and I will see you back here in just a little bit.